Hi, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Joshing Around Milwaukee. My name is Josh Albrecht, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, it's Josh Albrecht.
That's right, Josh Albrecht and Josh Albrecht, and we're here to talk about all the wonderful and amazing things that make Milwaukee, Milwaukee. And one of those things is, of course, Milwaukee Film and the Milwaukee Film Festival. We're very excited to have on our guest today the executive director of Milwaukee Film, Susan Kerns. Susan, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, Susan, how I usually like to start these things off is before we get into the details of Milwaukee Film and the Milwaukee Film Festival, let's get to know you a little bit. So tell us what you do as executive director for Milwaukee Film and kind of tell us your elevator pitch of sorts of how you got here.
Yeah, so as executive director of Milwaukee Film, I do a little bit of everything, kind of depending on the day. Some days I get to do things like this, which is awesome. I answer a lot of email. I watch a lot of movies. I take a lot of meetings. I get to know a lot of people. I feel like I'm in my mode of trying to meet all of Milwaukee in the past year. I've been in this position for just about a year and a couple of months. So it's just, I don't know, it's really great. I love Milwaukee, the city. I originally moved here for grad school in 2002, and I've actually been here that entire time, but have been working in Chicago. And it was really interesting living here, working in Chicago, and sort of seeing the city from an outside perspective. I think people who live in Milwaukee don't understand how much Chicago loves Milwaukee, and having that perspective of we have so much great stuff here and it's so easy to take advantage of and honestly very affordable. So it's just been really great to be able to sort of be back working in the city that I've been living in and reforming kind of community connections and everything. And it's been tremendous.
And you've had a long history of all kinds of film, right? It's not just, one particular subset of film. I was looking at your bio just a little bit ago, and you've even written liner notes for movie DVD box sets or something, right? So you go deep into different movies. Tell us what some of those I guess more below the surface jobs within the film industry that you've had, and what that's been like.
So the liner notes that you mentioned, Ueck, which is a DVD company out of England, I think, they got in touch a couple of years ago and needed somebody to write about Tank Girl for their Blu-ray box set. And I had published about Tank Girl, the comic book, and I had that in my bio, and they got in touch. I was like, absolutely, I want to do that. I love that movie. We were also then last year able to bring in Rachel Talalay, the director of the film, to Milwaukee to talk about her experience making the film and just what a weird kind of cultural phenomenon that, that character is and that film is. So cool stuff like that. I have written films, produced films. Occasionally when I was in college, I started as an acting major and, was not good.
Is there some sort of crazy art house movie or two that you star in then from college?
I was in a couple of friends' short films.
Nice.
And then a background person for a number of different things. So really, I'm sure Shining in the background, you know.
Have you searched out productions in Wisconsin? Have you been a part of any or helped with that in any process?
Yeah. So I produced a documentary called Man Life. Oh, my goodness. I guess it came out about 8 years ago now. It was about the University of Lausanne. I don't even know if you remember the barn that said Study Natural Law by the side of the road near Racine.
Yeah.
Yes. So the documentary is called Man Life, and we spent years with the last kind of crusading member of that group, trying to figure out what is Lausanne and what does it do to a person's life when you're literally crusading year after year, trying to get word out about an organization that basically doesn't exist anymore.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So has that made the film festival here? Has it been shown?
Yep, it played in the film festival, I believe, in 2017.
So going back then, was there something always in the back of your mind boy, it'd be really cool to be a part of Milwaukee Film someday in a more leadership role?
So I was the first education director at Milwaukee Film. So I was one of the first maybe 5 or 6 full-time employees there. And before the Milwaukee Film Festival, I had volunteered when it was the Milwaukee International Film Festival, continued to volunteer and worked with a couple of the early Milwaukee film programs. I just always have loved film festivals. Before we started recording, you asked about South by Southwest. Josh, you had asked, because that's going to clarify
Yes.
for people.
Yeah.
And in college, I just loved film festivals and had the opportunity to be part of that. And so I've kind of carried that enthusiasm with me. And, truly, I loved my job in Chicago, was not looking for a new job. But when I saw this position come open, I was like, I just have to go get it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
And you did.
Yeah, I did.
And the commute, much shorter. So you had that going too, right? Because now you're not going from Milwaukee to Chicago, working more, Milwaukee to Milwaukee. Makes it a little bit easier. All right, so you're executive director. There's a lot that's happened. Really quick, can you talk to us a little bit about some of the changes or things that you've been most proud of that you've seen in your time so far in that position with Milwaukee Film?
Yeah. So in the first year, one of the things that I really wanted to do was focus on community. And that's something that I sort of made a list, like what are the things that we want to do with the film festival and with Milwaukee Film moving forward. And I think there is a way in which we get used to things and we sort of need to be reminded of how important some of our like cultural pillars are and some of our favorite restaurants are, things like that. And so I wanted us to really focus on what are the connections we can make with community and how can we support the neighborhoods that we're in, but also support different organizations around town by bringing them in and partnering with them in our theaters, things like that. So I think we've had a really, really successful year doing those kinds of activities and really bolstering those connections and helping bring visibility to some organizations and things like that that can use it. So that's been great. The festival footprint, or the festival campus, as we call it, we're now just in the Downer and the Oriental Theater, and quickly realized last year that because we were renting the Downer Theater, that it was very important that we continued to have the Downer Theater as part of our festival campus. So we also did a lot of work in the last year to really just make sure that the math was there, that buying the Downer for us was a good decision for the sustainability of the organization long term. Super, super, super proud that we were able to do that. It is the oldest operating movie cinema in the state of Wisconsin. And so it feels really exciting that we're able to preserve that for future generations.
Yeah, having both historic theaters, and they're so close to each other.
Amazing.
Really, they are walkable. It's a great little, film buff district, and they're both the neighborhoods are lively, thriving.
Yep.
Makes for a cool experience going to one of the theaters for a night out.
Yeah. People, I think, don't, again, we sort of take for granted the things that we just have. And I think people don't realize, like, the Oriental Theater is one of the best movie theaters in the country. I would say one of the best movie theaters in the world. Just everything we do is with such care for the movie-going experience. And obviously that space is just unbelievable. Every time I walk in there, I was in there this morning, it's just, you look around, you're like, who made this place?
Yeah.
It's insane to think about now. And just, we're so lucky that it's still there, still thriving. And then to have the Downer close by too, so we can have a more intimate kind of classic neighborhood film going experience too. It's incredible.
And it makes the Milwaukee Film Festival even better as well, having those so close. And we're going to talk about the film festival when we come back on Joshing Around Milwaukee. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to Joshing Around Milwaukee. We're having an awesome time talking with our guest today, Susan Kerns, the executive director of Milwaukee Film, with the Milwaukee Film Festival coming up. It's going to be April 16th through the 30th. Susan, tell us a little bit of some of the highlights we can expect to see at this year's film festival.
Well, I think everybody is very excited about the world premiere of Ueck.
Yes.
This is a documentary that we have had our eye on for some time. I've seen a couple of versions of it and earlier versions. It's just so wonderful. I mean, Bob Uecker is a person that I didn't grow up in Milwaukee, but I knew Bob Uecker, right? Because he had just such a presence and he was so funny and, just seemingly everywhere you looked on television. And to celebrate his life and the joy that he brought to the world and to the brewers, it's just really exciting that we get to have that moment with that film.
Yeah, being a world premiere, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's super cool. And
Yeah.
right at the height of the start of the baseball season. I think it's a great pairing of cultural icons in the city, the Brewers and Milwaukee Film.
Yeah, and I also don't know that, it really gets much bigger than Ueck. Like, it's just for the people that grew up here, didn't grow up here, that grew up here, moved away, like, Ueck just shined Milwaukee, wherever he was. Didn't matter if it was on a national stage or just, locally, if you saw him on the sidewalk, it didn't matter. So I think that's huge in a lot of ways. It's huge for the city, but also just an awesome thing for the Milwaukee Film Festival to be able to highlight, especially if there are people that maybe have gone in the past. I don't know if there are films there that are going to really be intriguing to me. Here you go. You can go and see this and feel that Milwaukee pride, and just maybe this is the first time you're even experiencing the Milwaukee Film Festival, which shouldn't be, because the film festival is great, but also it's been going on for 18 years.
Yeah. And I think part of what you're speaking to is that we actually do have something for everybody. But if you haven't been going to the film festival, sometimes it feels a little bit impenetrable, right? Like, oh, it's this huge event, and like, how do I go? Right. And it's really very easy. And we really do have something for everybody. One of the events that I most love is our kids short size small. This is for literally, like, I have seen 2-year-olds in the theater. It is so sweet. They get to go to their first movie ever. It is just a celebration of, generally animation without a lot of words, and just the range of kids there. We often have an organ player so that the kids can have their first movie going experience in the main house of the Oriental with the organ and everything. Oh, it's a treasure. I mean, if you've never watched like films with little kids like that, it's one of the best things in the world. But we have something like that. Then we have the Ueck doc, which is a very different audience. And then we have things like, we have a midnight screening of this Italian horror film called Bay of Blood. And we're going to have like themed barf bags. And, so that is a different audience than.
What constitutes
I was
a
gonna
themed
say,
barf bag?
Hold on a minute. Yeah.
We have to address this.
Take a step back. Yeah. We're not going to just, overlook that for a second.
Well, you'll have to come to
find
out.
Oh, yeah, nice.
You're not going to give it
Look at that.
A little tease.
There's going to be people showing up just to see, what's this barf bag situation? That's a genius idea, of a very festival idea, to have a unique thing like that. I love you guys do music videos too, right? Which I think is great. I'm a huge fan of music videos. Mm-hmm. Wish MTV never went away. Rest in peace. But that's a cool element too, to get locals excited and involved too.
Yeah, and it's incredible because we have one of the things I love about the music video show is all of the musical talent. Like because I haven't been immersed in Milwaukee recently, just going through these videos, I was like, man, we have so many amazing musicians here. And then you get to see them paired with all of this amazing film talent as well. It's just a great celebration of kind of the arts and culture scene in Milwaukee in general. A lot of fun.
And then tell us about the festival centerpiece, The Big Cheese.
The Big Cheese, yeah. It is a documentary about cheese.
I had a feeling. But you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's about the competitive world of cheesemongering. And again, a lot of fun. We will have cheese samples on site, so anyone who wants to can partake of the cheese. And it's, again, just a lot of fun, a documentary about sort of a behind-the-scenes look at a world probably a lot of us, for as much as we feel invested in cheese, haven't necessarily explored in this kind of intimate way.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely invested in cheese at Joshing Around Milwaukee.
Yeah. Big fans. Big fans. You just put the word cheese out there. We're going to at least learn more information. And then closing night, Power Ballad.
Yep.
What's that about?
So that's a new film with one of the Jonas Brothers and Paul Rudd. It will be opening wider in I believe sometime this summer. But one of the things we like to do is give our audiences kind of a sneak preview of, at least something that's coming from Hollywood. So this is just a really great, like, sort of feel good, closer for the festival. Especially after we have people who come and see 4 to 5 films a day throughout the entire festival. When you get to that very last spot, it's, often nice to have something that can just kind of wash over you and, just a nice sort of...
kind of like an ending.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
You're riding that wave.
Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned, the Milwaukee Film Festival, April 16th through the 30th, meaning it's not a 1 or 2 day event. And so to plan that out, because as the other Josh Albrecht will point out all the time, I always say you got to plan things out. You got to learn as much as you can before the event to make sure you enjoy it to the best of your ability. We're going to tell you how to do that, how to find out more information, and how to be a part of the Milwaukee Film Festival when we come back on Joshing Around Milwaukee. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to Joshing Around Milwaukee. We're having an awesome time talking with Susan Kerns, the Executive Director of Milwaukee Film. We just got done talking about some of the highlights that you can experience at the Milwaukee Film Festival, which is April 16th through the 30th. And Susan, as I mentioned before the break, the 16th through the 30th is not a two-day event. So you really got to kind of plan this out and make sure that you're getting all those highlighted parts that are going to stick out to you. Where do people go first and foremost to plan this out?
Yeah, so you can go to the Milwaukee Film Festival site, just mkefilm.org, and all of the information is right there. What I would say, the best way to fest, if you're planning to go like a lot, I definitely recommend buying a pass. If you have a pass, you can kind of wander in and out, and you actually don't really have to plan in advance. So it is perfect for people who are like, I think I want to do this these days, but my plans might change. One of the great things about having both theaters nearby is that people can get out of a film and then be like, you know what, I want to see another one right now. And if you've got a pass, you can hop right in or just literally walk up the street and go see another one. I will say get tickets early, like buy your tickets early, because we do have films that sell out. We do have lines around the block for certain films. So if there's something you're interested in, just get that ticket early and go for that. The best way to also think about things like discounts is to become a member of Milwaukee Film. We have a student membership that is only $25, and that's for the whole year. And then our basic membership starts at $75 for the entire year. If you are a member, you get a free film every month. Through our member screening, you also get a free secret screening during the festival. So there are all kinds of perks. Plus, you get discounts on concessions, merch, all kinds of things. So those really tend to pay themselves back very quickly if you become a member and then get your festival tickets.
So are there like additional seats? Like if I buy the pass and then I see that a show sold out, like I have a pass, so I don't have to worry about that.
Correct.
Still, right?
As long as you get there early enough. If you get there like 1 minute before it starts, then it can be kind of hit and miss.
Sure. So most important, pass if you're going to be going to multiple films, but also no matter what, make sure you get there early for the film you want to see.
Yep.
Anything else specific to planning it out, parking, concerns of that, anything that we want to make sure that people, when they're going to the film festival, get the best experience that they can?
Yeah, definitely plan for parking if you're planning to drive over. A lot of people are taking like Ubers and Lyfts over if they're going to be there all day, because that's just easier than worrying about parking. So I highly recommend that too. For opening night, also, we have our opening night party right after the Ueck doc. And that's going to be sort of a neighborhood crawl. So we're going to sort of activate different bars around the Oriental Theater, and that is free for everybody. So if you didn't get in on the Uecker tickets and you still want to be part of that party, you can look at that information and just show up and kind of celebrate with everybody afterwards.
Very, very cool. And one more time, the website to go to.
It's mkefilm.org.
mkefilm.org, the Milwaukee Film Festival, April 16th through the 30th. But go check it out, become a member. You get the exclusive, the secret screening. Listen, everyone.
I'm in it for the barf bag.
Yeah.
So.
And you can put the cheese samples in your barf bag.
Yeah, there you go.
Catch it all.
And I just want to say, just real quick, I know we're running short on time, but beautiful venues to watch movies throughout the year too. So
Very
if
true.
you can't make it into town for the film festival, or you're just out of vacation or whatever, go any time of the year. I just most recently watched Wuthering Heights at the Oriental. It was a lovely experience. So I encourage people to go and check out the theaters anytime, because it's a great movie going experience.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And again, we're very lucky to have them, and I think the purchase of the Downer Theater too was so important to preserve that and keep that to be a highlight of the city for people that, whether you live here or you're visiting, haven't experienced that yet, to be able to, or even if you have, to continue experiencing that is awesome. So glad that happened. Glad that the film festival is continuing on 18 years strong. And we appreciate you, Susan, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Joshing Around Milwaukee. For more information, go to visitmilwaukee.org. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us so much for this episode of Joshing Around Milwaukee. If you're seeing this part of the show, it's because you're watching or listening on one of Visit Milwaukee's social media channels, and we really do appreciate it. We're having a great time with Susan Kerns, the executive director of Milwaukee Film. Susan, this is, to a lot of people, the toughest question you'll be asked today. Josh, take it away.
Yeah, we at Visit Milwaukee love to say that the city has a ton of momentum, ton of energy right now. Always something new going on. We like to call this fresh city vibes. So what is giving you fresh city vibes right now?
So one of my favorite places in Milwaukee is actually in West Dallas. It's a restaurant called Wild Roots. And I think a lot of people have never been there, and it is amazing. Every time I go there, I have something new that I feel like I've never tasted before. They have a charred broccoli. I don't know what they're doing to this broccoli, but it's like I crave it. And it's like I had never tasted broccoli before I had their broccoli. They've got these like Parmesan cheese puff things, amazing curry. It's just I have yet to encounter something on the menu that I'm just like, oh my God, this is just every time I'm like, this is just amazing food. And I'm so happy I get to eat there.
I love it. I love the way you describe the broccoli because I often say that too. I'm like, oh, this is why people like broccoli. You know, like when you finally eat something at a restaurant and you're like, this is why people like this.
Doesn't it also make you feel like, man, like chefs, just the way that, like if I made broccoli, you could give me all the same ingredients. Yeah. You made that taste so good in comparison to how I make broccoli at home. Yeah. Like that's incredible. Yeah, Wild Roots is amazing.
So perfect.
It's so good.
Stop by Wild Roots, head to the film festival. Sounds
Bing,
like a
bang, boom.
Milwaukee day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Susan, so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to the Milwaukee Film Festival, April 16th through the 30th.
Great. Thanks again.
All right, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Joshing Around Milwaukee. As I mentioned before, for more information, go to visitmilwaukee.org. We'll see you next time.
Two Joshes are better